I specialize primarily in working with individuals and young adults who've experienced trauma. I've worked within systems for many years, whether that's the criminal justice system or with child and family services. So I primarily work with adults who've experienced abuse in childhood, whether that's systemic from family members, from community members, and working with adults who want to not allow their traumas to impact how they view the world and how they interact with the world um, moving forward. I would describe my approach to therapy and treatment as really integration. I think that there's not one treatment that fits all. And so being able to work with the client on where they're at and what they want to focus on, and then sort of finding the modality that's going to best serve those goals is really my goal as a provider, whether that's being more cognitive behavioral for somebody who wants to sort of focus on a step and homework and a plan, and then being more psychodynamic for somebody who really wants to focus on the relational aspects and sort of the more esoteric view of where they are in the world and how their relationships with others impact that. I think most frequently what I find myself talking to clients about is their relationships with others and how their perception of what's happening in certain relationships and certain situations really impacts how they're feeling, how they're thinking about themselves, how they're thinking about the world. Um, and so I think that's really where primarily a lot of treatment ends up is talking about how we relate to others and how we improve those relationships. I think there's two pieces to it, right? I think for me, what feels really good is when somebody comes back to session and they say, I really thought about what we talked about last night and or last week, and here's what I did about it this week, and here's how it felt good, or here's how I adapted it. I think ultimately, as clinicians, we're here to offer tools and to offer feedback, but like ultimately, you want that client to be able to kind of take those things and run with it. Um, I think the other thing, especially working with adolescents and young adults, is that a lot of times treatment is planting seeds for later. So a lot of times, people come to therapy with like, this is what I want to work on. And we sort of find that there's other things in there that we want to work on. So I think hearing that people kind of either come back to treatment or find sort of a new goal over the course of treatment, that's really rewarding for me too, because I think sometimes as clinicians, we don't always get to see the kind of end result. So I think being able to get that, hear about those instances where that planting the seed really flourished is exciting. My words would be that therapy is hard and it's hard work. And when you feel ready for things to look different in your life, then it's a good time to go to therapy. And it's okay for you to not know what you want to be different yet. But just giving yourself the opportunity to think about how your mental health is impacting your day-to-day life, and maybe those goals change and maybe those goals look different in the end. But I think just the acknowledgement of this is hard and that's okay. Um, but looking at it as a new opportunity, I guess.